Loughlin's daughter, Olivia Jade, is breaking her silence. Olivia spoke on Red Table Talk today about the college admission scandal that sent both her parents to prison. Lori and her husband, Massimo, paid $500,000, you remember, to falsely pass Olivia and her sister off as rowing athletes. Olivia says she and her sister, are you ready for this, knew about the scheme. Yup, listen to what she said on Red Table Talk.
I'm not trying to victimize myself. I don't want pity. I don't deserve pity. We messed up. I just want a second chance to be like, I recognize I messed up. And for so long, I wasn't able to talk about this because of the legalities behind it. I never got to say, I'm really sorry that this happened, or I really own that this was a big mess up on everybody's part. But I think everybody feels that way in my family right now.
Wow. And still, Jada's mom called Olivia out for her white privilege. Watch.
At the end of the day, you're going to be okay because your parents are going to go in and they're going to do their 60 days and they're going to pay their fine and you guys will go on and you'll be okay. And there's so many of us that it is not going to be that situation.
Yeah.
It just makes it very difficult right now for me to care.
Wow, what a vital conversation. Erica, I know you and I both are huge Red Table Talk fans. They always have these nuanced conversations, always unfiltered. What did you make of Olivia Jade completely coming clean, especially because her mom, even after her sentencing, never admitted guilt?
Right, and she did address that about the legality of the situation. I mean, it's not uncommon for people to be able to say anything. However, there was so much here. Miss Adrienne, Jada Pinkett Smith's mom, she's 67 years old. So you have to consider everything that she has seen, endured, you know, in this country, in this world, as a Black woman. So for her to say what she said, and I want to note that she was talking about in this moment, she was conflicted and against giving her the space and the room at the table in this moment, because in the grand scheme of every single thing that's been happening in recent months, is this the most important or vital use of space for that table? And I completely understood that, but I thought that the flexibility of thought and the duality in this conversation was so dynamic, because you have a girl or a woman who's 21 years old, embattled in something that is super public. Her ignorance was her bliss. She had to come clean and say things that she probably never envisioned saying. And to be honest, and Miss Adrienne said it too, she didn't have to say anything, and she could have continued in that bubble. But she chose to come forward, and I have to give her some credit for that.
Do you think that Olivia Jade's going to get another shot? Do you think she's going to have a career again?
Yeah. I'm going to give it to you straight. With a face like that, absolutely. Her coming clean on Red Table Talk, she's going to get even more fans now. I mean, if she starts dating Scott Disick pretty soon, because she's dating every young girl in Hollywood. That was a joke. But I applaud her, too. Like Erica said, I appreciate all the things you said before that. But I applaud her for coming forward. She lived in a bubble, and she admitted it. My parents, her friends, our friends thought this was okay. This was the bubble we lived in. My thing is that maybe I'll push back on a little bit is the white privilege thing, right? Why isn't this just privilege? This isn't only white people who do this. This has been going on for hundreds of years. Maybe majority are white, but this is privilege, and we need to look at that in itself, not white and attach that, because it's such a...
I do have to address that, Jeff, because I think it's only fair to clarify that, and I can understand you asking that question. Miss Adrienne also addressed that as it being privilege, but the important dynamic about that conversation of white privilege was the idea that a 67-year-old Black woman is sitting there with a 21-year-old white woman in that moment when we're talking about Black Lives Matter and we're talking about equity and equality. And she, Olivia Jade, asked to come to the Red Table. She wasn't invited. She asked to be there. So what Miss Adrienne was really saying is it really our responsibility as Black women in this world to raise your social consciousness, to give you an opportunity to absolve yourself, when in my 67 years of experience in this world, I haven't been given that opportunity from folks who look like you. That's the reason why the white privilege thing was brought up.
Interesting.
I like that. That was a good answer.
Great
That was a
conversation.
really good
Usually
answer. It was a good question and a good answer.
No, I was going after like the trigger word of it because we mentioned it in the prompter, and I think a lot of people online put white privilege, toxic masculinity, all these other things that that bother me. But your explanation, Erica, was fantastic. So thank you.
A compliment to both of you guys. I really forgot I was on the show. I was just like listening
too.
to what you guys were saying, so I appreciate that. I learned a lot from both y'all.
Good conversation.